Hey, welcome back, guys. My name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast. And today, I figured it out. I figured out the best day to have an argument, and that day is tomorrow. Tomorrow is the best day to have an argument, most of the time. I'm going to tell you a story about it when it wasn't. I was willing to have an argument right now, and it was actually the right time. And when I'm thinking about this topic, I couldn't remember another time where at that immediate moment, it was appropriate. So the year was, I'm going to date myself, 2003. I was on the side of Mount Rainier, which is out in Seattle, Washington area. If you've ever been to Seattle and you look up, if it's not raining and not cloudy, you can see Mount Rainier from downtown Seattle. It's a very classic mountain. Lots of people have climbed it. And me and my two buddies, Brad and Steven, we are doing our approach day. So we have 60 to 75 pounds of gear on our back, and we have come out of the tree line. We are working our way up the rock part of it, and we're just getting into the snow. We're at the end of a long day. We are probably 7 or 8 hours of moving uphill. And my buddy Brad is leading the way, and he gets to a point, and we are in basically like a channel where two peaks come together. And that is a very, very dangerous place to be. If you imagine, you've got like a gutter basically, and everything that falls down gets into the gutter and then rolls down the gutter. We are having to pass through the gutter to get to our route. And so every rock, every piece of ice, every piece of snow that falls down the gutter. Very dangerous place to be. And you can't mitigate that hazard. You can't, there's nothing you can do to make that spot less dangerous. The only thing you can do is to move through it as quickly as possible. And so we're climbing up, and Brad gets to a point, and I can see there's some anxiety building, and he's got that I don't know where to go, and he's just kind of he's frozen. I said, Brad, we got to move, buddy. We got to get out of here. This is not a good spot. He's like, I know. I just can't. I can't go. I'm like, Brad, you need to move up this hill right now. I can't. I don't know where to go. I'm like, Brad, listen to me. You have to, I'm pointing it out. It's that way. Go to the left and then up to the right past this rock. Like, this is the way we go. And he's frozen, and we're having an argument. And I'm like, Brad, you have to climb right now. This is a really, really dangerous spot. I mean, I'm standing amongst, basketball sized boulders everywhere, and they just didn't appear there. They all fell down that gutter, that channel. And he is completely frozen. We're arguing about moving up. And then finally, no route whatsoever. Usually when you're climbing up, you hike up to you kind of hike up at an angle to the left and then to the right so that you're not walking up in a straight line, especially when you can knock stuff down on people. I took off straight up past them. You remember, again, I'm wearing 70 pounds of gear because I'm bringing all the stuff for the summit day. I go up past them. I finally get over this crest, this ridge. I'm like, right here, Brad, that's the route. And I get up there, and I am so exhausted. Like, my heart feels like it's like just completely beating out of my chest. I can't breathe. We're up probably 8,000 feet, 9,000 feet. And I came from Michigan sea level, so I'm not acclimatized at all. I got lightheaded, but we made it. And we had an argument at that very moment. And that was totally the right time to do it because it was a dangerous situation. And I couldn't think about it, but I'm sure at work I've had some arguments where we had to go back and forth, and it was dangerous. But for the most part, the best day for an argument is tomorrow. The other day, another story, me and my wife, we were getting our 6-year-old, we were getting ready for church. And my daughter, the clothes need to fit correctly, and she does not like things that are uncomfortable. And I totally get it. Like, I will not that's why I'm not wearing skinny jeans, because skinny jeans are not comfortable. And so, we're kind of rushed a little bit, and she puts something on, she goes, Mom, I don't like it. It's tight around my belly. I don't like it. So my wife patiently takes that off, puts something else on. She says the same thing. Mom, I don't like it. It just feels weird here. And she takes off. And then it was like the third outfit. And my wife got very frustrated and vocalized that. This is ridiculous, something along those lines. And, she was busy. She was rushed. And in my head, I wanted to say, and this was where I wanted to have an argument. Like, I was like, we're going to have this argument because I don't think she's being fair to my daughter, because my wife has something with materials too. She doesn't like the way certain things feel. For instance, the microfiber towels that, you like maybe clean your car with. When she holds those, she tells me that it hurts. Like it physically hurts her to hold those in her hand. Now, being a smart, empathetic husband, I just say, oh, wow, that's weird. That doesn't happen to me. But in my head, I'm going, I think that's kind of strange. Like, what do you mean it hurts you? But she says it hurts her, so I believe her. And in my head, I want to say, sweetheart, you're the person who literally can't hold a towel because you say it hurts your hands. Give your little girl some grace. Like, she doesn't want to be uncomfortable. But because I've been married for almost 20 years, and because I like to have a nice, peaceful house, I decided the best time for that argument was tomorrow. And in life, there's so many times where we just want to, like, maybe we're the one frustrated. Maybe we're the ones that are tired, and we just really want to lay into somebody for something. And I want you to step back and go, could I have this conversation tomorrow? It's kind of like discipline. Whether you agree or don't agree with spanking. If you agree with spanking your kids, you should never do it while you're upset, because then that's hitting them. Spanking should be punishment or discipline when you are calm and it's the consequences of action. If you're doing it while you're upset, you're hitting your kid. You're not spanking them. And that's what an argument is. If you are amped up, if you are wanting to win, right? If you're wanting to beat them at the argument because you're right, that's not the time to have the argument. Because the goal of the argument, right? And I'm not saying don't disagree with your spouse or your coworker or any of that. Have disagreements, but make sure it's part of a conversation so that, one, you can understand them, they can understand you, you can come to an agreement and realize, okay, I see where you're coming from, you see where I'm coming from. Maybe I was completely wrong and maybe you're completely right, or vice versa. But if you do that when you're calm, cool, and collective, then you get the wanted outcome. If you're in an argument where you're both upset, you're probably both going to lose, right? Because you're not going to change your mind. They're not going to change their mind, which is going to make you more frustrated, and you're not going to come to a conclusion or a solution to the problem that maybe you need to. So I'm not saying never have the argument. I'm really saying don't have it at that moment when you're upset. Fast forward 3 days later, me and my wife are sitting on the couch. We've had a great day. We're both rested and fed, and there's no, negative emotions and no animosity. And somehow it brought up, we were buying clothes for Lucia, and she said, I'm like, yeah, that Sunday was that was kind of funny. She had to change their outfit. She goes, yeah, that's just crazy. I'm like, yeah, it was. I thought it was kind of crazy coming from you that you were like upset about her not liking it. I mean, you're the one that can't hold on to a microfiber towel because it says it hurts. I thought you would understand that, anybody. And she laughed. She's like, yeah, you're right. Like, I didn't want her to give my little girl a hard time, but it wasn't physically abused for my wife to be upset that my daughter was being difficult. That's totally normal. Like, there was nothing that I had to like step in immediately. And if you got someone abusing your kids, obviously step in and like do something at that moment. But that's like an emergency. And hopefully that's a very rare case. But for those arguments, have them tomorrow. You just push it off a day. Remind yourself, maybe take a note, write it down. Maybe have a set day of the week. Hey, every Sunday, you just air your grievances. If you ever watch Seinfeld, they had Festivus, and part of Festivus was it's an alternative to Christmas where they air their grievances. They have a Festivus poll. Maybe you need a Festivus poll. At work, one of our firefighters, she made the Festivus poll, and you could just air your grievances. You'd write it down, and you'd stick it to the poll. And it's funny to read, and some of them, are probably, being in management, I probably need to read some of those. I'm like, yeah, that one's about me, or that one's about him. But that's the time to do it, right? It's not the argument. It's not you're upset. Don't have those. It's not successful. And I don't want to say don't ever have arguments, because that's the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm saying do it. If something's bothering you, if something's upsetting you, definitely have that conversation, but do it when you're calm. Do it tomorrow, because tomorrow is the best day for an argument. Now, I know this was a very simple conversation. If you are struggling in your relationship because you just can't not have these emotional outbursts, I want to help you. I want to hold you accountable for what you actually do. I know some guys that's what I want to do, but I just get so mad and the energy, the testosterone comes out. If that's you need a little bit of accountability. Reach out to me. My email is danny@dannydumas.com. I want to help you. And this might just be, Hey, what are you dealing with? What's the problem? What's the solution this week you're going to do? Cool. Do that this week. Call me next week. Tell me how you did. And we're going to make a plan week by week by week to get you where you need to go. So that email is Danny@DannyDumas.com. I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you for listening to this podcast. My name is Danny Dumas, and this has been the Earn Your Title Podcast. I will talk to you later. Bye.